On the 15th of October, something within you begins to shift. It's not an accident, not a coincidence, but a quiet realization that the peace you've been chasing was never somewhere else. It was always inside you, waiting for you to stop running. You've spent so much time trying to fix the noise outside, trying to control circumstances, people, and outcomes, hoping that when everything falls perfectly into place, you'll finally feel calm. But the truth is, peace doesn't wait for perfect conditions. Peace begins the moment you decide to stop searching and start seeing. 15th October is a reminder that the battle was never with the world. It was always within you, between your awareness and your distractions, between your truth and your fears. Today, the air feels different because something in you is ready to stop seeking validation from noise, ready to stop escaping from silence. You realize that what you've been searching for cannot be given by anyone, nor taken away. It's your birthright, your natural state, hidden beneath layers of overthinking, doubt, and exhaustion. Peace is not found in the next achievement or the next comfort. It doesn't come from being understood by others. It comes from understanding yourself. On this day, 15th October, you finally see that nothing external has the power to make you whole. Wholeness is not a gift someone gives you. It's what remains when you strip away everything that isn't real. The peace you've been searching for doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives quietly in the pauses between your thoughts, in the deep breath you take before reacting, in the moment you choose not to argue, not to control, not to fight. It shows up when you stop trying to prove yourself, when you realize that you don't need to earn your worth through pain. You are already enough. A 15th of October is not about escaping life. It's about awakening within it. You start to see that peace doesn't mean everything is calm outside. It means you are calm inside, even when the world trembles. You can feel the difference now. You no longer chase moments of happiness that fade. You begin to build a foundation of stillness that stays. You realize how much energy you've wasted trying to control what's beyond your reach, trying to please what was never meant to understand you. The mind loves to wonder. It builds stories, expectations, fears. It tells you that peace will come after success, after love, after change. But on the 15th of October, you see through that illusion. You stop postponing your peace for a future that doesn't exist. You begin to live here, now, in the breath you are taking. And as you breathe, you understand the moment you stop chasing, everything you need starts coming closer. This day becomes sacred because it teaches you to sit with yourself, not to run away from your emotions, but to meet them with gentleness. The pain you once avoided becomes your teacher. The loneliness you feared becomes your strength. Every broken part of you no longer feels like a wound. It feels like wisdom. The world outside remains the same, but you have changed. The way you see, the way you respond, the way you exist, all of it begins to align with peace. 15th October is not just a date, it's an awakening. It's the day you stop trying to find meaning in chaos and start creating meaning from stillness. It's when you understand that the person you've been waiting for to bring peace into your life has been you all along, and you no longer beg for calm, you embody it. You no longer wish for peace, you become it. And from that moment, everything starts to flow differently. The same situations that once triggered you lose their grip. The same people who drained you no longer have the same power. Because peace, once found within, transforms everything it touches. You walk slower, speak softer, and feel deeper. You become unshakable, not because life becomes easier, but because you no longer need it to be. On the 15th of October, the world outside might still rush, still demand, still pull. But inside you, there's silence, a silence that doesn't mean emptiness. It means understanding. You understand your path, your pain, your purpose. You no longer fight the flow of life. You trust it. You realize that peace isn't something to be achieved. It's something to return to, something that's been calling you home. Every sunrise after this day will feel different because now you know where peace lives, not in the noise of applause, not in the approval of others, but in your breath, in your awareness, in your acceptance. The peace you've been searching for was never missing. It was only waiting for you to stop searching elsewhere. So 15th of October becomes more than a date. It becomes a threshold. The day you crossed from confusion to clarity, from restlessness to stillness, from searching to being. The moment when you understood that peace was never lost, you were just too distracted to see it. And now you see. On the 15th October, you will come to understand something powerful. Silence is not emptiness. It is strength, clarity, and truth. In a world that constantly demands noise, opinions, and reactions, silence becomes your greatest teacher. This day reminds you that peace is not found in the voices around you, but in the quiet space within you. It teaches that you don't need to shout to be heard, and you don't need to rush to arrive. Everything meaningful grows in silence, confidence, understanding, and calm. 15th October is not a day for more noise. It is a day for listening, not to others, but to yourself. When you finally stop running from stillness, you begin to hear your own truth. You start to notice how loud the world has become. Everyone speaking, no one listening, everyone reacting, no one reflecting. Silence separates you from that chaos. It brings you back to your center. In the quiet, you can see what truly matters and what only drains your energy. The more you listen, the more you understand. The more you understand, the more you grow. Silence teaches you discipline. It doesn't demand attention, it builds it. It doesn't compete, it observes. On the 15th of October, you begin to see that silence is not about being passive. It is about being powerful in presence. When you are silent, you hear the hidden layers of life, the rhythm of your breath, the pace of your heart, the patterns of your thoughts. You begin to recognize how much you've been missing by trying to fill every space with sound, distraction, or activity. But in silence, you see clearly. You realize that the peace you've been searching for was buried beneath the constant noise you allowed. There is beauty in saying nothing. There is wisdom in observing before acting. 15th of October becomes a lesson in restraint, teaching you that not every emotion deserves a reaction, not every thought deserves a voice, and not every battle deserves your energy. Silence protects your focus. It teaches you patience. It makes you unshakable. You start to feel how calmness replaces chaos when you choose stillness over argument, breath over tension, and awareness over noise. When you allow silence to guide you, life slows down in the best way. You begin to feel time differently, not as something rushing past, but as something unfolding gently. On this day, you begin to hear the subtle things you ignored before, your intuition whispering, your emotions asking to be felt, your purpose trying to reach you. The world no longer needs to scream at you because you finally know how to listen. 15th of October teaches that silence is not isolation, it's connection. Connection with your higher self, your inner clarity, your strength. You don't withdraw from the world. You just stop letting the world control your rhythm. You begin to move with intention. You begin to speak only when your words carry value. You begin to understand that silence is not the absence of expression. It is the foundation of it. Every meaningful word, every wise decision, and every powerful action starts from silence. There's a deep shift that happens on this day. You stop fearing quiet moments. You stop filling them with meaningless scrolling, talking, or distraction. Instead, you let them breathe. You realize that silence is not a void to escape from. It's a mirror showing you what needs healing. It shows you your impatience, your fears, your need for control. And when you face them in silence, they lose their power. You become stronger, not by fighting them, but by observing them. 15th October becomes your teacher in awareness. It shows you that silence can't be forced, it's chosen. It's a decision to not let the noise outside determine your peace inside. You learn that silence doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right thing at the right time, in the right energy. It's where your growth happens, quietly, without needing recognition or approval. The ones who master silence master as themselves. You begin to feel that truth more deeply than ever before. Because silence reveals who you truly are when no one is watching. It shows you whether your mind is peaceful or chaotic, whether your heart is steady or scattered. On the 15th of October, you learn to sit with yourself. No phone, no distractions, no noise, and realize that the person you've been avoiding is the one who holds your peace. This day marks a shift from talking to understanding, from reacting to observing. It is the day you begin to let silence speak for you. Every breath becomes more deliberate, every thought more refined, every choice more conscious. You begin to see that silence isn't about withdrawing from the world. It's about entering it with awareness. You no longer move out of impulse, you move out of clarity. On the 15th of October, the noise fades. The opinions, the arguments, the endless chatter, they lose their weight. Because now you know what silence gives you: control, focus, presence. You stop being pulled by chaos and start being guided by calm. You feel lighter, clearer, stronger. You realize that silence was never empty. It was full of answers you were too distracted to hear. From this day forward, silence becomes your strength. It becomes the space where peace lives, where wisdom grows, and where self-mastery begins. Every moment of stillness becomes sacred. Every pause becomes powerful. The world will keep making noise, but on the 15th October, you finally learn to rise above it because you have discovered the secret most overlooked. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of yourself. 15th of October carries a message that is not wrapped in comfort but in truth. To find peace, you must learn to let go. The weight you have been carrying is not strength, it is resistance. It keeps you trapped in memories, in fears, in what ifs. This day arrives not to give you something new, but to help you release what no longer serves you. Transformation begins when you stop clinging to what is already gone. The more you hold on, the more you suffer. The more you let go, the freer you become. On the 15th of October, life invites you to open your hands. You cannot receive peace while holding on to pain. You cannot move forward while gripping the past. Letting go is not about forgetting or ignoring. It is about accepting that some chapters are complete. You don't need to rewrite them. You just need to close the book with gratitude. This day becomes a moment of truth, a reminder that peace does not grow in tight fists, but in open palms. You begin to see how much of your suffering comes from attachment. You hold on to people who have already walked away. You replay mistakes that can never be changed. You fight for control in a world that moves on its own rhythm. On the 15th of October, that fight ends. You realize that letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is understanding that control is an illusion and peace comes from trust. Trust in life, trust in timing, trust in yourself. This day is not about losing, it's about freeing. When you let go, you create space. Space for new beginnings, for healing, for growth. You stop being defined by what left you and start being shaped by what remains within you. Letting go is not the end of love or effort. It's the beginning of clarity. It allows you to see what was true and what was only temporary. It gives you the strength to stop chasing what doesn't align with your path anymore. 15th October teaches you that pain is not your enemy. Pain becomes your signal, showing you where you're still holding on. Every time you feel heaviness, it's life asking you to release. Every time you feel tension, it's your heart reminding you that something inside needs to breathe. Transformation is never comfortable. It strips you of illusions, of attachments, of false comfort. But in that discomfort, you find freedom. You start to understand that letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop suffering over what you cannot change. It's choosing peace over control. It's deciding that your energy deserves better than chasing what resists you. 15th of October becomes that turning point when you stop asking why it happened and start saying thank you that it did. because every loss carves space for something purer to arrive. Every ending taught you a truth that comfort never could. There's power in surrender and the power to release expectations, to stop forcing outcomes, to allow life to flow as it's meant to. You begin to notice that the more you resist, the more you feel pain. But when you surrender, peace appears effortlessly. On the 15th of October, you feel it. The moment you stop fighting reality, you align with it. And that alignment brings peace deeper than anything external could give. The ego fears letting go because it wants to control, to possess, to define. But your higher self knows that everything temporary must pass. People, moments, emotions, they come and go like waves. You cannot hold the wave. You can only flow with it. When you understand this, you stop drowning. You begin to surf with balance and grace. That is the essence of 15th October. To flow instead of force. You learn to forgive yourself. You release the weight of guilt that has been holding your spirit hostage. You stop punishing yourself for being human. You realize that your mistakes were not failures, they were lessons shaping your strength. On this day, you finally breathe fully without the shadow of regret covering your light. Forgiveness becomes your liberation. Letting go becomes your rebirth. 15th October is the day the past loses its grip. The anger, the blame, the resentment all dissolve when you choose peace over pride. Man, you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. You don't need to chase closure from those who could never give it. Closure happens when you decide it does. You no longer need the apology, the explanation, or the ending. You simply walk away with grace, knowing peace is worth more than being right. Transformation through letting go means trusting that every ending hides a beginning. You may not see it yet, but life always fills what it empties. Every door that closes points you toward one that opens. 15th of October becomes the line that separates the old you, the one tied to fear and control, from the new you who lives with flow, trust, and surrender. You begin to walk lighter. The same situations that once broke you no longer have power. The same memories that once hurt now remind you how far you've come. Letting go becomes your daily practice, your inner discipline. You no longer chase people, outcomes, or perfection. You simply align with what brings peace and release what does not. On the 15th October, the transformation is silent but powerful. You wake up with a sense of lightness, a calm that doesn't depend on anything outside you. You realize that letting go was never about losing. It was about returning to yourself, to balance, to clarity. You have not lost anything that was meant to stay. Everything that left simply made space for you to become whole again. The storm has passed, the weight has fallen, and in the quiet after it all, you feel something sacred, freedom. That is the gift of 15th October. Not the peace given to you by the world, but the peace born from the courage to finally let go. 15th October is not a day for waiting. It is a day for discipline. Real peace does not appear out of luck or chance. It is built, trained, and practiced. It is the result of quiet effort, of choosing the higher path again and again when the easier one calls your name. This day stands as a reminder that if you want to find lasting calm, you must earn it through awareness, through patience, through mastery of yourself. Peace is not a feeling that visits you. It is a state you create through discipline. On the 15th of October, life calls you to take responsibility for your inner world. No one else can maintain your balance. No one can think for you, breathe for you, or calm your storms. You must do that work yourself. You must build a routine for your mind the same way you build strength in your body, with consistency, with effort, with presence. Discipline is not punishment, it is love in action. It is the decision to no longer be a slave to moods, impulses, and emotions. It is the decision to live consciously. You begin to understand that peace and discipline are not separate, they are one. You cannot expect stillness if you keep feeding chaos. You cannot expect clarity if you never silence distraction. 15th of October becomes the day you draw the line between who reacts and who responds, between who blames and who builds. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about direction. Every time you choose calm over anger, awareness over noise, focus over comfort, you train yourself to live in peace. There will always be noise, there will always be temptation, but discipline teaches you to stay centered no matter what happens outside. It's the inner structure that protects your energy. You begin to notice how powerful it feels to control your response, to breathe when you want to shout, to pause when your mind wants to rush. That is self-mastery. And 15th October teaches that self-mastery is not cold or rigid. It is the deepest form of freedom. Discipline brings peace because it gives your energy a purpose. You no longer scatter yourself in 100 directions. You become focused, sharp, alive. The world around you might still spin, but inside you remain steady. You don't need everything to be calm. You just need to be calm within everything. 15th of October reminds you that peace is not about escaping life. It's about walking through it with control and awareness. On this day, you start noticing how much of your restlessness comes from lack of structure. You want peace, but you live without order. Your sleep, your thoughts, your habits all move without guidance. But when you bring discipline into your life, everything changes. You wake up earlier, you breathe slower, you move with intention, and slowly chaos loses its power over you. 15th October teaches that discipline is the silent form of strength. It doesn't shout, it doesn't seek attention, but it transforms everything it touches. When you are disciplined, your energy no longer leaks into worry or regret. You act when it's time to act. You rest when it's time to rest. And you trust yourself in between. That trust creates peace because peace is not the absence of effort. It's the harmony between effort and awareness. You learn to train your thoughts the way a warrior trains his body. To stay present, to stay alert, to not be pulled by every emotion that rises. You begin to understand that every reaction is a choice. Every word, every response, every thought is a thread that weaves the fabric of your peace. 15th of October becomes the day you stop being ruled by impulse and start leading yourself with clarity. Discipline means saying no to distractions that drain you, no to emotions that consume you, no to habits that steal your time. It is not easy. It is not supposed to be. But every no to chaos is a yes to peace. Every no to comfort is a yes to growth. 15th of October marks that shift when you stop chasing ease and start chasing strength. Peace is not fragile, it's forged. It is created by the repetition of calm decisions. You start to feel how discipline shapes your energy. You become less reactive, more patient, more grounded. People notice you're calm, but they don't see the work behind it, the daily practice, the moments of silence, the inner battles you win in secret. That is the true meaning of peace through discipline. 15th of October stands as a milestone of respect. You no longer break promises to yourself. You keep your word even when no one is watching. You follow through with your intentions, not because it's easy, but because it's right. That consistency builds trust, and trust builds peace. You begin to feel at home in your own skin. You no longer need to escape your mind because it has become a place of order and clarity. Discipline does not restrict your freedom, it expands it. It gives you control over what once controlled you. It gives you space to think before reacting, to breathe before deciding, to feel before speaking. This is what 15th October reveals, that real freedom is not doing whatever you want, but being strong enough to do what's right for you. You start to see how every small act of discipline, waking up on time, keeping your focus, maintaining silence, staying grateful, becomes a seed. And when you water those seeds every day, peace becomes your garden. It grows quietly, deeply, unshakably. The storms may come, but they cannot uproot what is built with consistency. On the 15th of October, you realize that peace is not a reward, it is a reflection. It reflects your choices, your habits, your discipline. The way you live each day determines how calm you feel at night. You no longer wait for peace to find you. You create it through patience, through effort, through presence. And when the day ends, there's no applause, no announcement. Just silence, calm, steady, grounded silence. Because now you understand the discipline of peace is the path itself. 15th of October is not the end of the journey, it's the beginning of mastery. The day you stop waiting for balance and start living it. 15th October is not an ending. It is the quiet beginning of a new version of you. One that no longer seeks peace from the world, but carries it from within. It is the moment where you stop waiting for signs and start becoming one. The journey has brought you through chaos, through noise, through letting go, and now you arrive at stillness. Not because life suddenly became easy, but because you finally understand yourself. This day marks the shift from searching to living, from hoping to embodying. The peace you've been searching for is no longer a destination, it is now your nature. 15th October reminds you that transformation is never loud. It does not happen through force, it unfolds quietly, like morning light touching the earth. The greatest change is invisible. It happens in your perception, in the way you respond, in the way you breathe through difficulty. This day teaches that peace is not something you find once and hold forever. It is something you build every morning, every thought, every choice. The more you align your actions with awareness, the deeper that peace becomes. The new beginning of 15th October is not about starting over. It's about starting from a higher place within yourself. The storms that once scared you no longer have the same power. The chaos that once drained you no longer enters your space. You walk differently now, slower, calmer, but stronger. This is not the peace of escape, it is the peace of understanding. You don't run from life anymore. You meet it. You move through it with purpose. You flow with it instead of fighting it. On this day, you realize that everything you went through had a reason. Every loss, every silence, every ending, it was preparing you for this moment of awareness. Nothing was wasted. The pain taught you strength. The mistakes taught you humility. The waiting taught you patience. And now on the 15th of October, all those lessons come together to create something sacred inside you, balance. Peace becomes your new foundation. It's no longer something that visits when life is calm. It stays even when storms come. You begin to carry peace into your words, into your decisions, into your presence. People around you will feel it, even if you say nothing. That is the power of inner stillness. It influences without trying. 15th of October shows that peace is not a prize you win. It's a state you maintain through awareness. This day symbolizes maturity, the kind that doesn't come with age, but with understanding. You stop reacting to everything. You stop explaining yourself to those who don't want to understand. You stop giving energy to what drains you. You become selective with what you let in. Thoughts, people, habits, emotions. You realize that protecting your peace is not selfish, it is sacred, because what you nurture within you determines everything you create around you. 15th of October teaches you that real peace has nothing to do with perfection. It lives in acceptance. You no longer need every situation to be fair, every person to be kind, or every path to be easy. You only need yourself to remain grounded. Peace is not found in avoiding challenges, but in facing them with clarity. You don't resist what comes or cling to what leaves. You allow, you adapt, you evolve. That flow is freedom. You start to notice that peace is not silent because nothing happens. It's silent because you no longer need to react to everything that does. The mind becomes quieter, not because life has stopped testing you, but because you've stopped letting every test disturb your balance. 15th of October becomes a mirror showing how much you've grown. You no longer crave control, you crave alignment. You no longer need to be right. You just want to be real. That is the evolution of peace. This new beginning demands awareness. Every morning you will have to choose peace again. When things go wrong, when emotions rise, when people test your calm. But 15th of October reminds you that peace is not fragile. It's not something you lose easily when it is built through truth. The more you honor it, the stronger it grows. The world can shake, but you remain unshaken. The beauty of this day lies in simplicity. You stop rushing, stop proving, stop pretending. You stop pretending. You start listening, breathing, existing fully. You begin to live your days not through pressure, but through purpose. The smallest acts, waking with gratitude, speaking with kindness, walking with awareness, becomes sacred. 15th October becomes not a single event, but the rhythm of your life. From now on, you carry a different energy, the one that doesn't need noise to feel alive, the one that doesn't depend on others to feel complete. You've found the center inside you, the place that stays still no matter how fast the world moves. That stillness becomes your power. That calm becomes your direction. This new beginning does not promise a life without storms, but it promises that the storms will no longer define you. You will bend but not break. You will feel but not drown. You will face and not fear. The lessons of every day before 15th October built this strength in you. Now you walk forward lighter, wiser, freer. When the day closes and you look back and realize 15th October was not about something changing outside. It was about something awakening inside. The moment you stopped chasing peace, you became peace. The moment you stopped searching for calm, you discovered it in your breath. This is the gift of 15th October, not an ending, but a rebirth. The beginning of a life lived in awareness, in presence, in unshakable peace.